Hey, thanks for joining us. This is your host, James. I'm so glad that you are joining us today, wherever you're from and however you're listening. We would love it if you would share this with your friends. It would really mean a lot to us as just we are trying to share the love and hope that we have in Jesus over the next few weeks as we navigate the coronavirus and what that means for us to be the church to our community and to the people around us. So thanks for joining us, and we'll get started.
Well, hey, folks. We're really glad that you joined us this afternoon for the Rise Up podcast. We've been doing this for the last eight weeks as we've been quarantined and isolated, and we established this podcast.
I'm sorry.
We established this podcast to engage with you, to encourage you, and to empower you to be the church during this time and beyond. And this afternoon, I think we're going to really talk about empowering. Because Rochelle is with me today, and she's representing an organization called CASA, C-A-S-A, and that is an acronym for what?
Court Appointed Special Advocate.
Court Appointed Special Advocate. And so, brief definition, what is that? What is that?
I am the voice of the children who are in the system, in the DCS system. They're not always in foster care. They can be in relative care or still at home or in a group home, but they're in the system. They were removed, or something had happened in their home to where it's not a place for them to stay without intervention. And I am there to represent them in court.
Yeah, and I want to talk about your experience here in a few minutes, Rochelle, but the reason why we're talking about that on the podcast is our county needs more advocates. Mm-hmm. And why is that?
Well, because of what's going on with Corona, that has actually made the numbers go up, because if people who have a difficult life are stuck together, and people who love each other are getting stuck together, have a difficult life.
We have already talked about that. We've talked about mental health issues on the podcast, because when you get isolated and quarantined and in the same house with the same people, even families that are healthy,
right?
We struggle. But you're dealing with dysfunctional families, broken families with serious abuse issues sometimes, and that sort of thing. And so the caseload has just increased because of this.
Right. And this is Crossroads CASA, so it not only represents Jasper County, but it's Benton County and Newton County.
Okay, good. So we're doing this to make you aware of this and to encourage, to inspire, to challenge people to step into this. It's a volunteer role.
It's totally volunteer.
It's totally volunteer, and you can advocate for as many children as you have the resources to do.
Definitely.
You can do one, or you can do multiple ones.
Yes.
Okay, so the question would be, I would imagine, is what is required of an advocate? What does an advocate actually do?
Okay, you have to fill out an application and get a background check, because you have to be, you have to have a good background check. And then you go through a training. And with COVID, the training might be partially online, or they're going to do it a special way depending on what stage we're in, what phase we're in. But Katie Hall, who is the director of Crossroads CASA, she wants to get this rolling, because she was going to do it a couple months ago and then everything happened. But now she's like, we have to get more advocates. And so this is kind of a time thing. So if, anyone that is interested, I would hope they would get in contact with her.
And you mentioned to me earlier that there are a lot of cases that can't be closed simply because they don't have the advocate.
Right.
So you've got children, would you say, stuck in the system, or just kind of
stymied? They might just get sent home with their parents.
Okay. So this is really a safety issue for them.
It is.
To recruit more and more CASAs to advocate for them. Okay, good. So how would one apply?
You would get in touch with Katie Hall, or I understand there is...
And we're going to put all that information, we're going to link all that information at the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's an application, and then there's a procedure, then you get called for an interview, then the background check, and then the training will start.
Okay. And you've done this for a couple of years, Rochelle. Share with us some of the joys and some of the challenges that you've already experienced in doing this for 2 years. What's it been like for you?
Well, I just thought I was going to save every child out there. And then what happens is we get an email weekly, maybe more if there's more numbers coming in, and it'll explain every case from each county and what's going on, and saying they need CASAs. And they're not always new. There's some of these cases haven't had a CASA, or they have for months, and it's just that it's because there's so many. So then, so you choose them because you kind of, you want to know what you're going to be comfortable with. Some of them, like the sexual abuse, they usually don't want a man CASA. They want a female CASA. So you look and you see like, oh, they're from DeMott or Wheatfield or whatever area you're closer to, because there's travel. And then so I picked 4 right away, and that was 9 kids. One family with 4 kids, 2 kids, a couple 2 kids, and I. It's exhausting because you become their friend. You want to.
Imagine you get attached to these kids.
You get so attached to these kids, and they get attached to you. Like when they know you're coming, and it's like they are at the door waiting for you, and it can be really exhausting. And I mean, just like all kids, my kids, they're snotty nose and all that. So you leave and you go in your car and you're just like hand sanitizer all over your entire body. And but then you just like, while you're there, you just don't care if the snotty nosed little kid just wants to give you a kiss, and you could give them a hug, and you can, if that's what they want. But you have to also know that sometimes they're not going to talk to you. They don't want anything to do with you because you are another person in their life, another stranger. So you have to come out slow, and you just want to be like, I'm just here to be your friend. I am here, and if they're older and they can understand, you tell them, I am here to represent you in court. You tell me what is going on, what you want, what you don't want, what you're afraid of, and they don't open up to you right away. It takes a while.
So for someone who's listening to this thinking, oh, I'm interested, but I don't think I could ever do that, how would you help them overcome whatever barriers that would keep them from doing this? So encourage them to do this.
If you have a passion for children, or just for our future, if you've seen kids in the foster system that are just not, they're so sad and they're so unsure of everything, and sometimes they're mean because that's all they know is mean, and that's all that anyone's ever been to them is mean. If you just can look and think, you go to bed at night and you're safe in your own house and under your, on your pillow, and your kids or your grandkids are safe. Like, we need to make everybody safe. We need to get these kids safe. And you could take on one child. You can take on an under 1-year-old. And that's not that hard, because it's not like you have to, be physically fit to play and run and do all that kind of stuff. But you can be there. You could see the house, the foster house that they're in. You could see their parents, the mom, or where they're going to end up going. And you could get to have a relationship with this. And I just recently have a younger child, and that was this is the first time, because I've always taken older one, depending on different things.
Yeah. So time requirement. If you had one child to advocate for, how much time a month would, on average, that require of you?
You are it's mandatory for you to visit them
at least
once a month, and which. You're not going to develop a relationship with a once a month, So, but with technology and with Zoom and with texting, and if you want to give your phone number to the foster parents, which you don't have to, but it's good because you want to set up meetings, and then there's also you go to, it's called a CF. I always get these letters mixed up, but it's a CF team meeting. It's a family team meeting where everybody gets together and they want you to be there. So the time starts adding up. And if you have kids in school and they're having problems in school, which unfortunately most of them are, and they have an IEP, and so you go to the school IEP meeting, and you go to everything. You can go to as much as you want, you can do as little as you want. But if you want the best for this child, if you want to see, why is this teacher saying they're doing this in class? Every time I see this child, they've never done this in class. And so the more you put into it, the more you're going to help this child. Yeah. The more that you are going to show the judge that, no, this is not what this child needs. You could just get more, like anything. The more you put into it, the more.
This child needs a voice. and you are that child's voice. So that is really loving the least of these. I mean, this is a kingdom mandate. I'm really excited that you're a part of this ministry. I'm really excited that you're sharing this with us. And I know that there are people out there that, they're wondering, what can I do with my life? What can I, where can I invest my time? I love children. So this would be a perfect fit for them. There's extensive training, so you're not stepping in this without being equipped. And we're going to link the phone number to CASA, so you can talk to the director about that. We're going to put our phone number on the website as well. So if you have questions, you can call us, and if you want to talk to Rochelle, we can set that up for you as well. So any last words?
Well, I just want to say that I have no social work education or anything like that, and I just knew that I needed to do something for the kids. And one time when I was my first time at Royal Family Kids Camp, there was a CASA there, and she was telling me what she was doing. I was like, well, how long, what's your degree in that you can do this? And she's like, oh, you don't need that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that I can do. Like, I really can do that. And then my kids are younger at the time, and it wasn't time yet. And God's amazing timing, this all worked out to unbelievable. And it's hard. It is hard because things don't always work out the way they should. But you just feel like you are doing something for our future, and we need our future. And one thing, an old song by For Him is Future Generations. And I advise any of you to just Google it or look it up on YouTube and look at the words, because the words of that song is like, look in the eyes of the children. What does tomorrow bring?
Do you want to sing that for us, Rochelle?
Okay, give me a mic. No, it is a song that I recommend, and you will see what you can do, and you can do more. You can do less or more. Just take a child. Start with one.
Start somewhere.
Start somewhere. Yes.
So yeah. Well, thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you
for sharing this with us and giving us the opportunity to respond. And like I said, check out the phone numbers on the website or on the podcast, and we'll answer any questions you have or direct you to the ones who have those answers. We just want to challenge you to do that and to love the least of these. And our children are our greatest prize and treasure, and we've got to do this. We have to do this.
We have to. These babies, they need you. They need you so much. And you can hold them and squeeze them and kiss them. It's not like Royal Family Kids Camp where you can't, side hug only. It's like I had one time, they were on my shoulders, on my lap, and around my arms, and we were reading books, and I was just like, I'm gonna.
There's no greater feeling.
No, it's not, because
no greater feeling.
they and you ask them questions, and they're like, are you sad? Yeah, because I can't go home with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you can come home with me. Don't tell Tom. But we do have couples that do it together too.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes,
that's good to know.
And they're elderly, so don't even. You can be as long as you're 21 or 121.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks guys for joining us, and please share this podcast with someone that you think might. Share it on your Facebook page, but pass this along. If you know someone that might be interested in this or a call to this, please let them know about this opportunity. And again, let us know what your questions are. We'll respond to that. And we'll see you next time on the Rise Up podcast. Thanks, Rochelle.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.